guys, how many of you are bored with Zoom calls and Google calls? Raise a hand, show of hands. Great people, yeah. I'm glad to be back, man. I've been so used to those screens at home, lights going off, birds chirping.
The amount of
babies crying.
The amount of people that have said like so nice to be at an offline event.
Yeah,
it's good to be here.
I think WebEngage has done a good job. So you've been partying, I heard.
Partying? Me?
Mm-hmm.
I stopped that when I was 25 years old.
I heard yesterday you partied like crazy.
We had upstairs like a small event, but look, I think I was very active in the party circle until I was 25.
Okay.
When I met my wife.
Are you saying it because your wife's around, man?
When I met my wife.
I was waiting for that.
When I met my wife, and that was it.
That's the truth. Okay, so the not so obvious story of Dr. Vaidya's. Let me tell you, I've known Arjun for a while. Trisha, I met in the morning, and so pleased to have met her. We're going to uncover some secrets today, not just about the business, but about their personal lives too. We're also going to talk a little bit about branding and a little bit about marketing, maybe not also. So let's start with this. You came back from Brown University, discovered your grandfather's business, right? Why get into it, man? You could have earned a lot of money being in iBanking or something in a private equity firm, crunching numbers.
So I think the story of why I got into it actually started much before I came back to India. So I grew up with juvenile bronchitis. I grew up with asthma. I grew up with pumps, nebulizers, inhalers, steroids. I love cricket. You guys can see the back of my cell phone is the Sachin's jersey. So I love cricket, and I was like most kids, went to the cricket field at age 5, and by age 7, my grandfather moved me off the cricket field because there was too much dust on the cricket field in Bombay. So I was that kid playing golf and squash at age 7, and kid with hand-eye coordination problem trying to hit a golf ball wasn't so easy. And when we were growing up at birthday parties, there was Coca-Cola, Limca, Fanta, Sprite. I was the only kid who couldn't have it. I had ice cream first time at age 13 because it would jack my throat. And so asthma actually had a big impact in my life, and it seemed like I couldn't have a normal childhood because of asthma. And then I got on Ayurvedic treatment. And 14 years later, my grandfather cured me of asthma. I stopped having a pump. And so I went to the US with this thought process, right? That there is something in India called Ayurveda. It's my family legacy. It helped me get rid of this thing called asthma. I also became the cricket captain of my school team at 15 when I started playing again. It was a big moment in my life.
What school was this?
Dhirubhai Ambani International School. Not such a big cricket school. We played 5 games, won 3, lost 2, and that was pretty much it. But I went to the US and I saw something I'd never seen before. Right? I saw the move towards natural and organic products. I saw yoga being repackaged. I saw hundreds of thousands of consumers excited about yoga mats, yoga gyms, yoga apparel, Lululemon. And for me, that was exciting because it was a multi-billion-dollar industry in the US. But what was not so exciting, as a very patriotic Indian who has this band of India on my hand at all times, was that Indian companies had taken yoga to the world. And so I remember calling my grandfather from campus and saying, hey, there is this amazing proliferation of yoga, but as Indian companies, we actually had nothing to do with it. And so can we take Ayurveda to the world as Dr. Vaidya's or as this legacy? So I came back to India. I worked in private equity for 3 years. Very comfortable salary, good job. But my grandfather passed, right? And so I'd made a promise to him at some point in life that I'll do something with this legacy. And my ex-boss at the time at L Capital, he said, Arjun, there's only 2 times you can start a business. That's what he told me. At 25 or at 45. At 25 when you have a little bit of experience but you have no responsibility. And then 45 when you've sort of done your bit with experience. And I just thought it was my responsibility to take forward this family legacy. And so I quit my job with really pretty much no idea of what Ayurveda is, what FMCG is. And I took this journey on without knowing what
that was 2016.
2016
but
October.
Trisha, did he sell you that story to marry him?
No, we were actually dating before that.
You met at a pizza shop, of course.
Yes, we met at a pizza shop. No, I think after a point, I always wanted to do something on my own. But in all honesty, I didn't have the risk to start something, right? I think you need a serious amount of risk appetite to say, okay, I'm going to start it. I couldn't take that step. I couldn't take that plunge. he started Dr. Vaidya's, and I could see how it's difficult, right? It was really hard. And I was honestly getting a little bored. Like, I would work 14, 16 hours a day, but a salary it didn't do it for me, right? At the end of the day. And finally, he was like, just come and help me. I need the help. Took a lot of convincing of the family because we were just about engaged at this time. And both families were like, you're planning an Indian wedding and going to get married this year and start a business together, which is very new, right? And very difficult. We don't recommend it. And we both were like, we're going to do it. And it's really funny because both our parents actually work together. But I think that's what...
That's all right.
Yeah.
We can always forgive.
You can turn it off.
It's
okay.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. So you joined him,
Hmm.
and you were telling me earlier that this man, he doesn't want to celebrate things. He wants to do his best in everything that he can. But you said getting to those first 100 products or 100 orders per day was key for you. How did you bring that culture within this organization in the startup?
So, everyone will think I'm biased because he's my husband, but Arjun's very ambitious, right? So if we hit one milestone, it would not be about that. It would be, okay, what next? But for me, it was really important that, we've worked really hard to reach that 50 orders a day, 100 orders a day, 500 orders a day. And as a team, you need to celebrate those small wins as well. Any business, any startup, it's literally a lot of firefighting. But I think when you have those small wins, it's also equally important to celebrate it because that's what you're doing it for also, right? Those small wins matter and add up. So we had a small culture in our company that any milestone which was set, right? Be it the operations team, be it the finance team, marketing team, any milestone that we had set and we hit, we would celebrate with a cake. And it would not just be Arjun and me celebrating, it would be the team celebrating. And I think that's something really small we did because that was also really motivating for the team, right? That really encouragement that we did it together. And we didn't hide anything. Everyone in our team knew what the goal was. It was a very open culture. So everyone would actually know that this is a milestone we need to hit. What role can I play to make it happen?
Did you organize the company into a structure or did she do it? Some of the things, I believe a lot of people want to be founders here too.
Yeah.
So had she set in the processes when she came in 2017? Or was he always like a guy who was ambitious enough to just go expand, but you brought in the organizational culture. So had you set in roles in your company?
Yeah, so look, I think what happened to Dr. Vaidya's between October 2016 and sort of mid 2017 when Trisha joined, right? I was 24 and a half, 25 years old. Running a D2C brand or a consumer brand, it's a lot of moving parts, right? So it's supply chain, procurement, legal, HR, IT, admin, sales, distribution, marketing, strategy, finance. I was 25 years old. I couldn't manage everything, right? And so I started believing that I was a 5 on 10 or a 4 on 10 at everything. And so I was there everywhere, but doing a pretty average job. And that's the pitch I gave Trisha. I said, look, there's this opportunity with Ayurveda. You're the one who told me that it can be made online because we had failed miserably offline in early 2017 and pulled back of offline. But
we started off as an offline.
We started off as an offline brand because October 2016, firstly, we are talking about D2C and we have so many amazing brands being created. That time, D2C didn't exist as a term. It was online first, digital only brand. And so in that world, we started as an offline brand. We had a big launch event at a hotel like this, Taj Lands End Hotel, signed on 6 distributors, put 10 lakhs of stock in the market, 3 months later got 9 lakhs of stock back. Monumental failure for us.
It was all on consignment, of course, right?
It was all on consignment, or it was not on consignment, but nobody paid me and then gave it back, so it was pretty much all on consignment. And I went to a good school. I was a great student in school, went to a good college, I had a good job out of college, and I thought I was running a good business until this happened. It was a monumental failure, right? So I told Trisha, look, I'm a 4 or 5 on 10 at everything that I'm doing right now. This business has potential. You see the potential. You told me about the online opportunity. I went there and did it. But now you have to come in and do it with me. And
did you ever see him fall at that process? Like you said, he lost 10 lakhs of money. And did he ever cry?
I think anyone who has failure takes it hard, right? And he's really hard on himself. So it did hit him for sure, but I think that really helped the journey later. And I think one thing during entrepreneurship is you're going to fail a lot. But you take it as a learning. I know that sounds really cheesy, but that's the truth. And you develop a thick skin while doing so.
And you develop a thick skin by what? Taking some hard decisions? Is it letting go of people? Is it changing the organization structure? Is it relooking at the way your product strategy works?
You
Dropping some product?
see, honestly, you try to do your best, right? And at times you have a strategy, you have a plan in mind, and it doesn't work out. Maybe not only because of you, maybe the assumptions were wrong, maybe external factors were against you. Right? COVID was, I think, one of the biggest examples we've all seen, right? For so many businesses. But you just have to keep going and you have to keep trying your best at the end of the day. So I think, yeah, you make hard decisions of letting people go. You take hard decisions of discontinuing certain things. You take hard decisions every day.
What was the hardest decision that you had to make?
The hardest.
I know I like everything that you've done over the last 6 years has been consistent with the messaging.
Yeah.
We all know the nice sides of the story.
Yeah.
What are some of the toughest decisions that you took? Did you have an employee coming and shouting and you saying, I've worked hard, you let me go? How did you?
No, so
manage those
I
kinds of
think
things?
that was not. I mean, in our organization, there was a very strong culture. We had 7 philosophies: honesty, humility.
Or was it a distributor
100%.
who came and said your
So
products
I
don't
think
work?
hardest decision. Look, I put a LinkedIn post about this earlier this week. Right, failure is fine, but no support really hurts. Right, so. Dr. Vaidya started as this product called Live It Up, for all of you who know that product. It's a hangover product. And I didn't have much else going on for me in 2016, 2017. So every 3 months, I'd send a WhatsApp message about a promotion, an event we're having, an offer to like 700-800 people on my WhatsApp contact list. These were people I knew very well. And I sent this one WhatsApp in 2017. And in like a minute of sending the WhatsApp, a founder of a funded startup replied to me saying, "Bro, please take me off this distribution list, thanks." And that really hurt. Like really, really hurt. You're a founder. I'm bootstrapped. I'm struggling. I'm working my ass off. I'm sending a message for a buy one, get one free of my hangover product 1 week before New Year's, man. It's like a totally relevant message. The least you could do is say thumbs up, don't reply. But why would you
Is
say
it a
that?
founder you knew?
Of course, it's a founder I knew. And so it really hurt, right? I think that's the tough part of the journey, and what she says about thick skin, right? Like it really hurt at that moment, and I started saying, should I not send these WhatsApp messages? Like, is there something wrong in what I'm doing? Like, I'm just here wearing my brand on my sleeve and trying to get my message out, and there's people who are not happy with that. Like, just because I've not raised some big round of money, I'm trying my best, right? I'm wearing my Dr. Vaidya's polo, I'm carrying Live It Up in my pocket at a wedding, I'm giving it out to people, standing outside a bar, I'm doing honest work, right? But not being appreciated, that was tough. Hardest decision that we made was shutting offline. So we had 22 sales reps. We thought we were doing exceptionally well. We did 10 lakhs worth of orders, and then 9 lakhs came back, and I realized that, hey, we have no right to win. I'm 25 years old. I don't know offline at all. And like, how can I be Dabur, Himalaya, Zandu, Baidyanath without having any right to win or any ATL budgets? And we had a discussion, this is before she joined the business, and she said, look, it's not working. Like, just cut the cord, right? And it seemed like a really tough decision, but thinking back, I've seen a lot of businesses that have done exceptionally well offline in the D2C space. Also, a lot of businesses have done very badly. But the ones that have done badly have not been able to cut the cord early or accept they are failing early, right? And so it's a slow burn. And a slow burn is the worst kind of thing. So I would say that's definitely the hardest decision we made. It was very tough to just say, hey, this dream I was selling is actually not a dream. It's a monumental failure.
Okay, the next question, I don't know how you're going to answer it, both of you. You came from a business family. And in your case, your father was a businessman much later.
No, always a business family.
Yeah, how did you take support from them? You said you had no support. Did you ever go back to them and raise money? Did you raise money from them? Or did you go directly to the RPST group?
No, so look, and sorry guys, usually you see me on panels and I'm not so nervous. This is the first panel I'm doing in my life with my wife. So I'm like super, super nervous about this. So I may not be as good as I usually am.
You're good, man. Go for it.
But I'm
You're
really,
confessing. It's
I'm
confession
really
time.
nervous, like super nervous.
You can give a round of applause. You can confess. You can say anything you want.
So reality was, right, so I inherited a legacy, but I also inherited a company. Right? My grandfather operated his clinic out of a company. And so there was some money in that company. And my dad was gracious enough to say, whatever money is there in this company, that's your seed capital. Don't come back to me for more. there's enough money, and there was a fair amount of money, but don't come back to me for more. And so we were operating the business with that capital. Now it was good money, right? It was a large amount of, or a decent amount of money to start a business, right? And so very thankful for that. But when it's your family's money, it's really scary, right? Because every month you're losing a little bit. You're dagger over your head saying, oh my God, this is going away, this is going away. But what really helped us, like really, really helped us, and what Trisha and I strive to do is what we didn't have in the early days. What did we not have? We didn't have mentors, guides, advisors who were from the industry, right? And so coming from entrepreneurial families, my dad's an entrepreneur, my mom's worked with my dad, her dad and mom are entrepreneurs.
2016, less than 100 brands.
Less than 100 brands. And so we had no one to go to, right? And so when we came back home from a hard day of work and we were on the dinner table, we didn't say a word, right? Our family understood what was going on, right? And so they knew what they had to do in terms of encouragement.
So, Trisha, what was the coping mechanism for the two of you? I mean, you are of a family which would obviously, your father-in-law would ask questions or could have let this business go, saying, yeah, he wouldn't support you. But what was your coping mechanism between the two of you? What was the stage where you started generating revenues, and when did the family start taking you seriously? And not that these are two bunch of kids trying something, and if it doesn't work out, they'll come back to the family business anyway.
No, honestly, I think we had a little easier than that, right? I think we had very, very supportive families on both sides. They knew we were sacrificing
no
anything.
Time arguments saying what
no, I mean, the arguments, of course, were there not about the business or finances. The arguments were there more about you all aren't present, you all aren't there. Every Sunday lunch, every Sunday day was also working. And I think they appreciated that, right? And they respected it and supported us. I think finance-wise, I mean, given his dad has run a successful business on his own, it was really useful because we didn't have our own CFO in the beginning, none of that. So every month we would sit with him and go through our numbers, right? And having that external view was really helpful because you are at times so into the nitty-gritties of it. So I don't think that they were hard on us. I think the Vaidya family in general are very like go-getters in life. So you hit here, they keep pushing you to reach more, and that's what they've done in their lives. So I don't think they were ever hard on us. They were very fact and actual with us about it. I think we struggled more internally, given our personalities that, okay, when's it going to happen? When are we going to hit 50 orders a day? And somehow we both knew that when we hit 50 orders a day, we will be able to hyperscale this. We knew that by then we would have understood our audience, understood our market, understood how to acquire our customers, and then be able to ramp it up. And that's what happened, right? But now I see companies, now I see startups being able to do that in 3 months, 6 months, right? At that time, we took honestly 18 months almost, right? From offline failure to do we do our own website? Do we do Amazon? Where do we go? It was a very, very, very stressful 18 months. I'm not going to say it was easy. But we both, I think, also knew that it was worth it, right? That there would be something bigger that came out of this. There's a reason why we're doing it. We were very honest about it. And honestly, we didn't have a work-life balance.
I mean, talk about me. I don't have a work-life balance now that I have my own media company. I want to ask you this. You were very consistent right from 2015-16 about the messaging, right? The story of Ayurveda, you built it and you would talk about it in several forums. You remained consistent even after you exited. Why is storytelling important, Trisha? I mean, why do it constantly? I mean, my colleague from ET and I've worked with him in Business World, Prasad, asked a wonderful question. Are founders today driven to do PR consciously spending or time or money? How did you guys manage that consistent messaging throughout? I mean, he's done it. He's done several.
I'm going to put that question to him because he did that.
Yeah, I want to know how did he do that day in, day out? For example, Marty, he was advising me, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to go for, and things like that. Did you do that consciously?
I'm going to let him answer this.
Look, I think as an early stage brand, when you don't have money and you don't raise money,
you're your own PR
you can't put the billboard up, you are the billboard. So if you saw me in an airport, I'd be wearing a Dr Vaidya's t-shirt, and first nobody knew what Dr Vaidya's was. My biggest moment, like very excited, so happy. You're on a flight to Bangalore, coming to meet Amazon and sort of hope we could get some more POs from them. And obviously nervous coming for that trip, not knowing what to expect. And we're on this flight, and the guy sitting next to, so we were sitting sort of this seat and this seat, and the guy sitting on this seat was like, hey, are you from Dr. Vaidya's? So I said, yeah, I'm from the brand. I'm the founder of the brand. Pulls up his phone and he says, hey, is this Herbo Build product yours? So I said, yeah, it's my product. Yeah, you know about the product. It's amazing.
Research.
No. He's saying, a lot of people have been telling me about this product, and I run a pharmacy in Vijayanagar near Hampi, and I want to get this product for my pharmacy. How do I get the product? And for me, that was like, oh my God, finally this personal billboard that I've been doing. My friends used to keep joking, anytime we ask you for a packet of Live It Up, you take it out from your back pocket and give it to us at a wedding. That's actually becoming a brand now, right? And so I think, look, there is a fine line between overdoing PR and just being a billboard for your company. There is no shame in constantly selling your business, selling your brand, and selling your work. Even though that message I got, the WhatsApp message I told you guys about, that hurt me, I kept going. And I actually went to my dad and I said, look, is there any shame in selling? Is there anything wrong in what I did? And he said, you're doing honest work, right? And my dad, from a family of doctors, but he started a jewelry business, right? And so his business started going house to his mom's friends and selling jewelry. And now it's a large, one of the most premium luxury jewelry brands in India.
And you got your dad doing reels now.
And we got my dad doing reels. But he said to me at that time, people used to kick me out of the house. My friends wouldn't talk to me because I'd keep trying to sell to their mom. But was I doing honest work? Yes, I was. And so it's fine. So as long as you're not spending your entire time on building your personal persona and it's going for the business, it's very important. But sometimes, like, I feel like too much time is spent. So finding that balance is important. But yes, no shame in being a brand ambassador for your brand before you can afford Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma.
Yeah. Quickly, buying followers versus organic. How do you do that?
Organic. Buying is short term.
I mean,
right?
you just keep consistently posting.
Yeah, so look, some of you may have seen my LinkedIn posts. I just post 2-3 times a week. First, I would get 10 likes, then 20 likes, then 50 likes, then 100, 200, 500, 1000 likes. Like, you just keep doing what you're doing and it's fine.
Doing all this, how do you guys, a husband and wife, spend time with each other? Yeah. You get time at all?
I mean, we used to spend 24/7 of our time together, right?
With the exit, you spend time
less.
Why?
I mean, because we don't work together, right? So we go to different offices, all of that. So we definitely spend less time. I think we still have a huge advantage that where our industry overlaps a lot. So we still can kind of be involved in each other's. But when he decided to work with Verlinvest, initially I was like, wait, you took this decision so quickly. You didn't even think that you're not going to be working with me anymore. So I got extremely emotional about that. And it took me some time to adjust because he would be, he knew what he was doing. He would go to office. It took me a little time to realize that, okay, we're not going to be working together all the time. But I think now we found a good balance again.
Okay. Getting to the business side now, RPSG, did they find you? Did you go to them? I'm sure now they're bringing back the brand to physical stores.
Yeah.
Why didn't you spend time with them after the exit? Usually there's a 2-year contract with the usual exits for founders spend time. One of the questions that everybody would have asked you, were you happy with the exit?
Look, I think why didn't we spend time? Actually, from the time they invested until the time we exited the business was 21 months, right? So we spent a good amount of time together. I think we had an amazing ride as well, right? The brand grew 20x in those 21 months or 18 months that we built it together. Am I happy with the exit? Yeah, I get to sleep at night now, which I didn't get to do for 5 years. But I think on the exit front, right, we've got this question like at least 200-300 times. I think it's something which is very, very personal, right? And so for us, at the time it came, we had an amazing run, grown exponentially, achieved some of the dreams which we had set out for Dr. Vaidya's, right? Like, I would love to have seen my brand at a cricket stadium, and we sponsored a match and got some billboards in India-South Africa match, and I saw Virat Kohli.
Or a ET front page saying
ET front page nahi, that maybe at some point it will come. But Amazon put some entrepreneurs on the front page of ET once, and I was there, so that also happened to me once in life, right? I think at the time, that decision, it just seemed like the right time for us as people. Vishal, if you were in my place, or if some of you guys were in my place, maybe you'd have taken the same decision, maybe you'd have taken a different decision. Whatever it is, actually, for us, it was the right time. And that's the most important thing. And I've spoken to tens of founders who've got opportunities to exit after we exited, who come to us and say, why did you do it? Can you walk us through the journey? And for some, I say, no, you've got to keep building it. For some, I say, okay, go ahead and I think you should go for the exit, right? So it's a personal decision. It's basis more factors than just business. It's where you are personally in life, where you see yourself going forward. So it seems philosophical, but that's the reality.
No, it is important. After you make money, you can also do a book on philosophy for sure. You know, when you have the money, we can all talk philosophy. Clap for them, please. Yes, why not? Yeah. So who's more philosophical now and realistic? Is he? I think he's after business even today, right? He's
24/7.
24/7. Did you plan those years towards those 21 months working with a corporate coming in? It was strategic because it's a larger retailer. Being a startup, going with a large brand, not many survive that. You guys have carefully crafted the exit. How did you manage those processes from RBSG? And how did you blend that into your business, which is typically both of you take quick decisions, and a large brand would never do that?
That did take some time, right? Because it's such a large company, they have certain processes that have to follow.
I've heard of API economy and all that. None of that in 2018, right?
So honestly, I think the relationship with them was quite clear. We had a very straightforward business plan, and we had a monthly meeting where many things were already pre-discussed, right? Like ad spends, revenues, etc. When we wanted to do something new or different, it was a meeting that we had to have, make our case, and it was a decision that we took together. I think that because our team was relatively younger, setting those processes, like our accounting system had to completely change, right? All those things took time. We had to add more people, help us. Their team was super supportive. Arjun would go to Calcutta every month to meet them as well. It took a little time, but then we kind of figured it out. I don't think it was that different or that difficult, to be very honest.
To be honest, now that
I'm very honest. No, I don't think it was as difficult as people say.
Going to Calcutta on a regular basis would have been a shock.
Yeah, look, my mom's from Calcutta. I don't really like the city, to be honest, because I feel like it's a city which had so much potential, was the capital of India before Delhi, and hasn't developed much. But I think the experience of, just think about what startups give you, right?
Arjun, would you tell me honestly, if somebody sitting out Calcutta comes and says, I know how to run a D2C business, between the two of you, would you have people like that in their marketing team?
Not at all, right? So think about a 27-year-old guy who's doing 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs a month, sitting in the same room with Sanjiv Goenka and talking Ayurveda. That's a dream for someone like me, right? And that was amazing, and we got lots of opportunities. Look, at the end of the day, I fundamentally believe, right, that you find a partner who believes in you as people and believes in what you're building as a vision, then what's good for the business is what you finally decide. There are no egos in that room, right? And what's good for the business. So why did we choose them actually? We had other options as well. We chose them because I found that they had the most conviction in our vision. They were seeing a larger business than we ever imagined. Right? That's why we chose them, and then eventually it worked out. Because look, I think when I interact with startups now, they want to close their rounds really quickly, right? Because of the breakneck pace at which rounds are closing. But when you get someone on as an investor, it's not maybe it's not a marriage, but it's a very long-term relationship. At least 7 years of dating, right? Together and meeting each other every couple of weeks, months, etc. All of that. So we didn't need to know the person. And we spent 1 year getting to know each other before we did the first investment. Right? And that's really important. Because you need to know who you're working with.
A lot of the money coming into India, especially to build this narrative around unicorns, hyperscale, you're almost tuned into likes, impressions. We spoke retention in the previous thing. Between building a product and building this narrative, blending the two and making sure that people come buy your product. On one level, we say that there are very few brands in India that people can experiment, but there's also a conundrum that you have to go sell your story. How difficult is it in that case? How do you even say that, okay, we have X amount of money, what do we spend on? The reason I ask you is, in the morning you were telling me you need to do high quality content, you also have to do content of the mass kind. And therefore the retention or brand recall. Many founders get that wrong. They go to social media company. Obviously Web Engage is here, right? So how does that work? How does it work for you? How did it work for you guys? Now that you've got a year off, right? Are you rethinking the whole thing if you do anything next?
Honestly, I think you have to be obsessive, right? With your own content as well. I personally do believe that there's only so much you can do to keep acquiring customers. but you have to build a brand, right? It's not only a story. You actually have to build a brand that people want to aspire to, people want to consume constantly. Why do they want to consume it? So for me, I think for us, it was the fact that it was 150 years of legacy. We were open to answering every question about Ayurveda. We positioned ourselves as the experts in Ayurveda as well. There was transparency. And through that, you build trust, right? Because there's so many brands now. So you have to also try and stand out a little bit. So I think building content is becoming more and more important. I think when you're starting out, it becomes difficult because you have a finite amount of capital and time. But I think looking back, the mistake we made is we started building a brand for Dr. Vaidya's a little later, right? That we had this pressure on ourselves of revenue. So I think we only started focusing on brand building a little later. Anyone starting now, I would tell you, 80% of your budget put on performance marketing because you need that revenue, you need that proof of market. But at least every month, 20% of your budget should be allocated towards building your brand through many ways. That metric is not going to be ROAS. That metric is going to be more of reach, impressions, how people are engaging, responding to the brand, all of that.
Customer service. Today, an electric vehicle company got into trouble. Company's gone and burnt their scooter for bad customer service. You can check Twitter if you want to do right now. It's trending. So how important is customer service?
It's critical. My thought is that if a customer is calling me, when me being Dr. Vaidya is now, I have to be answerable for them now, not when it's convenient to me. So every Sunday, we did customer service. For the first year, Arjun and I did customer service for every Sunday because A, the insights you get is amazing. B, we realized also what the problems the customers were facing. C, I think eventually when you grow, we realize that if a customer is comfortable in Hindi, English, Tamil, Telugu, whichever language, it's our responsibility as a brand to give them that service or offering. So I think customer service becomes a really critical part. It also builds a lot of trust, right? Tomorrow, if you buy a product from a brand and you've had a bad experience, or you just want to ask them a general question, and if you call the brand in 24 hours, 36 hours, you don't hear back from them, you start questioning, right? What is this brand? Is it fake? Is it fraudulent? What is it? So I think having a strong, robust customer service, and now you have so many tools, right, that can aid it as well, is critical.
Okay. Did you guys ever take the hangover pill while building this business?
Still taking the hangover
We had
pill.
it yesterday.
We have it with us in our room. So that's my favorite product that I built at Dr. Vaidya's personally because I used to stand outside bars and hand it out to people. So
Do you want to still hive it off into another business?
maybe at some point in life, why not?
Okay.
I love the product.
Now that you made money, what's your guide to happiness?
Is money happiness?
I don't know.
No.
Going to Lily White's is...
Lily White's.
Lily White's, by the way, has become a discount store now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, look, I think the only thing which I have now, which I didn't have earlier, is sleep. But the same drive, hunger, enthusiasm, maybe not towards something like Dr. Vaidya's, maybe towards giving back to the startup ecosystem, investing, enabling, giving time to startups. It's not like I work, maybe I work a little bit less, not as much as I used to.
She says no. She says she disagrees.
No, I think little bit less. Honestly, I think little bit less because I'm not
on
on
podcast. You're always on LinkedIn.
I'm not answering my emails at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. like I used to. I'm watching We Crashed at that time instead of answering my emails. But look, I think I don't have the answer to that question. Is money happiness? It's
now,
different.
How do you make a marriage work and be at the startup at the same time? It can be very taxing. Managing family, managing money, managing people. How do you guys keep it real?
So
how do you disassociate from it?
You can't disassociate. Many people will tell you there are compartmentalize your life. Right? You're watching a TV show at 1 a.m. and you think of an idea for a new campaign, or you think of a performance marketing ad idea, you're going to talk about it, right? The reality is, so Mohit from Moms Go on my podcast said there's nothing like work-life balance when you're working with your partner. It's called work-life merger. And that's the reality, right? But I'll tell you one thing which both of us treasure with our experience as founders of Dr.
She
Vaidya.
should agree with it first.
No, 100% she agrees with it. This 100%, I hope at least she agrees with it. Is that...
No, he's in control, man. How many of you men are in control, really? So, Trisha, you should disagree with him, man. He's constantly answering on your behalf.
That much now you
I was
live
told
together.
before this panel,
into beautiful marriage.
I was told before this panel, if you cut me off, I cut you off? No, if I cut her off, then had it. So I'm going to Chandigarh tomorrow. She's going back to Bombay. So I'm not going back to Bombay. But I'll tell you one thing, right? Like, in all seriousness, we started this business together at 25 and 26. We exited the business I was 29, she had crossed 30 by then.
Love saying it.
But we grew up with this. Yeah. Our relationship grew, we grew as people, we matured, we became who we were with this company. And I feel like a lot of our experiences, like heading to my wedding barat, approving a social media post. I was at this Kankotri writing ceremony for my wedding with my family. Like in Gujaratis, we have this thing. You write the first Kankotri is the first wedding invites and give it to her family. And the electricity got cut off in my factory because the pollution department said we didn't have one compliance. But at this puja for your wedding, full family is there, and I'm getting a frantic call from my factory manager as 30 people are watching me do this puja saying, "Sir, light band ho gaya and I don't know when they'll bring it back." How do you manage that? Did
you manage it?
No, I didn't.
Sounds like a scene out of
No, I didn't. I had a
Pushpa.
frown the whole puja, and then I left the moment the puja got over and went back to the office in my kurta and tried to deal with it.
Yeah, he did.
And you forgave him for it.
It was not my
It
function.
was my family function.
It was not my function.
Great. So, what's your guide to happiness? And then we'll move on to their questions.
Honestly, I think that even now, what we do in terms of work, we love, right? So I genuinely believe that whatever you do, if it's working for someone else, doing your own thing, as long as you love it every day, and it's not that, oh God, it's Monday tomorrow, and like there's a sad face, that makes you happy. Honestly, you make money. I don't think our lives changed even 1%.
So if
Nothing
you failed,
changed.
Say this whole party would have failed. This
Sure.
whole Vaidya's thing would have failed.
Possible.
You've still been different. You've been quiet. You've been what you would have continued be doing other things.
I mean, you would have a lot of learnings, right? So you would hopefully do it again and not make those mistakes again, I'm sure. But I mean, failure is part of life. You can't protect yourself from it. Yeah, lots. Personally and professionally, you do. It's fine.
So happiness is in letting go of things.
I think you just have to love what you do, to be very honest. Then you're happy.
Yeah. Now, your happiness in your question. You can ask them the toughest questions. Who wants to go first? Can somebody pass on the mics, please? We can take 3 questions and then we'll go off. We'll have lunch, perhaps. Right. Can somebody take a mic there? I'm going to pass this on myself. Then. I'm going to do that.
Sure, thank
now that there's
We
nobody,
did one too.
I'll walk around here.
You can't stand up because you get off the camera.
Sure. So I am Adarsha MG and I am
Hello.
a public speaker. So my question is, if you guys are not from a business background, business family, so how would you guys develop that mindset? Employer, there will be shift in mindset, right? So how do you guys develop that mindset?
I think, good question. I learned a lot from my father. I used to go to him with a lot of problems that seemed existential to me, but not so crazy to him. But look, had I not had my father, I would have gone and found a mentor, advisor, a friend, someone I look up to. And our job is to give back to this ecosystem and do that. So if you don't have someone who's in your close circle or family, go and find someone. Write a cold message on LinkedIn and you will get a response. Maybe 1 in 10, but that 1 person in 10 maybe becomes your advisor, mentor, and guide for life. So go for it.
Question in the back there.
Yeah.
And
Hello.
maybe we can take your question also quickly. What is it? We'll merge 2 questions because there's no time. Okay. So why don't you tell me your question quickly?
Can I go? Yeah. Hi Arjun, Trisha. Thanks for the thanks for the talk. Insightful both on the personal and the business level, right? So Arjun, Trisha, I know that of course, apart from running Dr Vaidya's, you also help work with a lot of other D2C brands. You invest in D2C brands, right? And I have been in this space for about 7-8 years. And in my experience, right, where after some brands have gone a certain distance, right, I think the biggest challenge, right, or the biggest reason why many brands don't do well or many brands have to shut down after a certain point in time is probably RTOs, right? RTOs and fulfillment. So I was wishing if you could throw some light on that, especially from a generic e-commerce point of view, right? I know that probably a category like medicines returns RTOs are less.
Yeah, so I'll leave that to Trisha. She's the expert.
So honestly, we had 87% of our orders outside the top 10 cities, right? So you can imagine there, and a lot of it was cash on delivery. So we had an issue of RTOs for sure. I think when you have cash on delivery as a component of your business, you have to prepare that you will have a certain percentage of RTO. It's your job to make sure that that reduces, right? Now you have so many tools available to help you. For example, you have Go Quick, Third Watch, right? Where you can actually 100% you have to call the customer to make sure that the order is genuine, the address is perfect and deliver. The second thing that I think has become, the quicker you can deliver to the consumer, the chances of your RTO reducing is higher. The more you delay your product, the problem is going to increase. The other thing is, if you do have a delay, right? It happens. It's not all in your control. I think you need to be honest with the consumer and keep them updated about where their product is reaching, and you will see a reduction. But RTO is a big problem, and I think it starts from the moment the order is placed to capture the intent of the consumer then and there and ship out accordingly.
Hey, hi guys. This is Abnesh from Verlinvest. Arjun, Trisha, thank you so much for making time and bringing all your results here. I have a question for you, especially for Arjun. We talked about selling companies, right? And what is the mental model to actually do this, right? Would you have continued, given other circumstances, etc.? But in interest of time, my question really is, Arjun, how much of, now that you're in the PE world or in the VC world, how much of it do you regret? You want to go back? You want to go back to building? But I know this comes from Kunal, right? So Kunal, I asked him the same question. Kunal Shah, and he had his short stint after selling free chart, and he wanted to do a bunch of things before he landed on Grant, and he dabbled across the VC world, trying to figure things out on Grant. How is it for you? How is it going?
Look, it's different for sure, right? Because you're not in control, but you're enabling people who are who will use your resources to scale it exponentially. I think, had I believed that I was the best entrepreneur in D2C in India at Dr. Vaidya's, I would not have been able to do what I'm doing today. But I think there are so many better people out there than me who I can enable and work with. So it's very different because owning 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30% of a company, you're not in the driver's seat. And so sometimes it feels like, hey, just let me call you and say like, you can change this, right? But you got to be able to let go. But I'm loving it because I'm able to do some amount of involvement and engagement with tens, if not hundreds of companies than just one. So for now, it's really exciting for me. Trisha has an itch though to start up.
I work as an advisor, right? A couple of different, again, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I think that I at least needed a year to come out from that stress, because whatever anyone says, running your own business takes a toll on your business. I mean, on your body, right? Like mentally and physically. I currently do have that itch to do something of my own again. There is a thrill of running your own business. I can't lie about that. So hopefully I will start something soon.
Okay, is there a pill that can actually stop our mental stress being business people?
No.
No? It's called, there he goes. That's a great entrepreneur. Great round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Louder, please. Thank you.